through it now. That'll freeze up. Michelle going to be remote, it looks like.
Okay, good evening. Adam and Kilea, could you please give us the invocation?
My name is Kalea, and this is my fiance. This is my fiance, Adam. God, we just thank you so much for this night. God, I just invite you in this place, Father. We just pray for your presence to be here. God, we thank you, Lord, that you have all authority and all power, God. We thank you for this night. Jesus, I pray for wisdom. God, I pray for clarity over every single individual that is here, over all the aldermen, God, over the mayor. God, we thank you so much for who you are, God, and that you reign. We love you, and I pray, Lord, that you just bless this night.
And God, I just pray as they just make decisions tonight to better Freeport, God, that you would just give them wisdom and guidance in that their steps would be already taken by you, God, that you would just lead and direct them and just help us all just make the right decisions tonight that would better Freeport for the future. In your name, amen.
Thank you very much. Now we'll officially call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
We're not recording here. Just a second. Director Sutman, can you confirm that we're recording for YouTube? I think my batteries are dead. Okay. Is that okay, Attorney, to just go with the one recording? Present in person, Mayor Miller.
Here.
Alderpersons McClanathan. I am so sorry. Alderpersons Ross in person. Parker. Here. Busker here. Is in person tonight. And remotely, Borneman.
He most likely will be a little late.
Okay, thank you. Do we have McClanathan?
Present.
Brashaw?
Present.
Mysick? He will be absent. And did Berberay? He will be absent also. I can't see that small screen. And Berberay will be marked absent. Staff attending in person, Manager Bucas?
Present.
Director Hines? Oh, now I see Director Richter. Director Boyer?
Present.
Chief Summers?
Present.
Director Sutman? And Huffines? And via teleconference, Chief Liggett?
Present.
I neglected myself. I'm here in person. And Attorney Zito. Thank you, Mayor.
And originally was supposed to be Alderman Mysick leading us, but we'll have to move on down the line. Alderman Borneman, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening? And if those of you that can, please stand and join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Alderman Parker. We will go on to item number 1, which is the approval of the agenda. Is there such a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman Ross. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Just one moment. We have 3 absent. So, McClanathan, we'll start with you.
Aye.
Ross?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Busker?
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. That's enough, okay? And Mayor, one more time, the second on that was Ross?
Correct.
Thank you.
Item number 2 is approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting on February 16th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Busker. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
and Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 3 is public comments. There are none on agenda items, so we'll move on to item number 4, which is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be routine in nature unless there's a member of the council who would like to have something moved back for further discussion. Seeing no further discussion, the consent agenda consists of A, to approve and receive and place on file the board and commission minutes from the Planning Commission from December 10th, 2020, the festival district schedule for 2021, the monthly report from the Greater Freeport Partnership from February 2021, the finance report for general, library, water, sanitary sewer, storm sewer funds for January 31st, 2021, the cash and investment report from January 31st, 2021, B, the approval of the finance bills payable in the total of $500,079.59, and the approval of payroll for pay period ending February 19th, 2021, in the total of $531,487.27. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman Parker. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
McClanathan. Was there an aye?
Aye.
Ross,
Yes.
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
and Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 5 is the recognition of service award. Chief Summers.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to recognize Officer Truckenmiller on March 30th, he'll complete his 5th year of service with the police department. You guys might recognize Officer Truckenmiller. He was the 2020 Police Department Employee of the Year. He's also a member of our emergency response team. He was in our gang unit, and he'll be back again shortly because he's going to be getting promoted here in 2 weeks to a different position. So he's a very valuable member of our department. So congratulations.
Congratulations, Officer Truckenmiller. Item number 6 is the second reading of ordinance 2021-08. Could you please read this?
Ordinance approving special use permit for KMW Enterprises Limited Partnership, also known as Woodridge Estates, for a campsite.
Thank you. Director Hines.
Thank you. So just as a reminder of what we had discussed a few weeks ago, we received a special use application from KMW Enterprises Limited Partnership, and this is the owner of the Woodridge Estates Mobile Home Park, to request temporary recreational vehicle residence. And this would be considered a camp by definition, which is a special use in A1 agricultural zoned parcels. And this specific parcel that they're requesting for is zoned A1 in the northeast corner of their land, and it's currently used for a mobile home park. The application came from a request to accommodate workers who are putting in a pipeline outside of Freeport right now for NICOR. A Woodridge Estates representative presented the request after getting communication from a local foreman from this precision pipeline company that they need somewhere for some of their employees to park their recreational vehicles. I spoke with 2 employees from this company, Precision Pipeline, and the company, and learned that the project will actually last approximately 3 years. This is just a portion of the larger project. This year, the focus is near Stockton or in Stockton, and then they'll move towards Freeport in the next year and work their way around the year after that. So right now, there are currently about 100 people working on the project, but in peak construction time, there will be about 400. So to go over some of the alternative living options as requested, so there are a few alternatives to allowing the pipeline employees to park their recreational vehicles at this mobile home park. Woodridge Estates has a parcel that's zoned A1, which allows for a special use for this particular use of what would be considered a camp. And they can pretty easily accommodate for recreational vehicles given the water sewer hookups and just the slight adjustments needed for electrical hookups too. There aren't any other A1 parcels in the city that would be as prepared for them or have experience accommodating transient employees such as the pipeline workers who are coming in for this project. And so after speaking with the two employees, which it was the equipment foreman and the job superintendent for Precision Pipeline, I did learn that there are workers who do choose to stay in hotels. So not everyone does have a recreational vehicle that they're bringing in, but there are a number of them who own these recreational vehicles, and they're not going to choose to stay in hotels because they do own these vehicles. But right now, one of the people that I spoke to, he is currently staying at a hotel in Freeport. And he said that there are about 10 to 15 people at the Country Inn and Suites, and then about 10 to 15 at the Baymont Hotel in Freeport. So, like I said before, there are currently about 100 employees working in the area, but there will be up to 400. About a third of those employees may need RV accommodations, and the remaining will stay in the hotels in the area. If the workers who own RVs are not permitted to stay in the area, then they will have to stay elsewhere. So right now, a number of them are staying in at the marina in East Dubuque, the people who have campers, or they're at a backyard campground in Wisconsin, and they're driving over an hour, sometimes an hour and 40 minutes, depending on the weather. It's getting a little bit better now, but it had been pretty bad for a while, so they're driving pretty far distance to be able to park their recreational vehicle somewhere. The other option would be the KOA in Lena. That's not open right now, but it would open April 15th, and so as soon as that is available to them, they would be able to go there. Some people might need to stay there depending on the number of RVs that are in the area and the number of people that Woodridge can accommodate, but if Woodridge isn't able to accommodate the RVs, then they would be able to go there in a little bit over a month. And then again, so most of the people who are in RVs, they own these RVs. They're not choosing to stay in hotels. They would prefer to live in their RV. They would prefer to have cooking accommodations or their own bed rather than to stay in a hotel. So for the crime-free housing addendum, it was asked at the last meeting whether this was required as part of the mobile home park license. And it is not. The crime-free housing addendum is applicable to rental housing, which is structures. So for Woodridge Estates, the difference is that they rent out lots and not structures. So they are not required to submit the crime-free housing lease addendum in the same way that the rental properties are. But that's not to say that it couldn't be a condition as part of this special use. And then moving on to the benefits to approving this special use. So economic benefits, that's the biggest thing. Allowing these RVs to park in Freeport, local businesses in the area are able to gain more foot traffic. And the two employees that I had spoken to, they said that they try really hard to spread their money out to different stores, different grocery stores, restaurants in the area too. So they won't just go to the same one every time. They try and go to different places and spread their money across the towns that they're occupying. And I spoke with the owner of Pat's Country House in Scales Mound. She said that their store did very well when the employees were working near her, and they had an increase in people. She said all the people who came in were very good, and it's a small town area, so she probably recognizes a lot of people that come in, but she said that she had a really good experience with that, and she wishes that they were still staying in the area. And then the other thing is encouraging mobile home park compliance. So while it is separate from the special use, but this proposed special use is requested to expire December 31st of 2021. This allows enough time for Precision Pipeline to complete their work in 2021 and allows the city to see if this accommodation for these RVs, it works. The temporary special use would it would also encourage compliance with our mobile home park standards if we're to consider extending the special use permit. So there are a few items that need to be addressed, as I had previously explained, with the license not being issued, and so those are things like removing abandoned structures, installing adequate rinse tubs and tables in the communal area, ensuring adequate water and sewer connections, and repairing roads to subdivision standards. And some of these items have been completed, but the park is about 50% vacant and needs additional income to help finance the requests that we're making. We acknowledge the need to conform with these items and the need for this park to get a mobile home license, and we do not encourage non-compliance with our regulations and our codes. However, we acknowledge the benefit to having possibly around 100 to 400 people in our area, and bringing in more foot traffic to our businesses that may be struggling this year due to COVID, and increase or benefiting our local economy. I would recommend the approval of this special use to be temporarily issued through December 31st of 2021, and on the condition that they comply with the Illinois Campground Licensing and Recreational Area Act. So again, we're acknowledging the nonconformity of this mobile home park with our licensing standards, and from a zoning standpoint, with the recommendations, with the recommended conditions on the special use, we can ensure compliance with the RV campground standards for the requested use. And we believe that it will benefit us to invite possibly up to 100 new residents and families into the community. And in the future, we would like to look into licensing seasonal campgrounds, and coming up with our own regulations and implementing some of the regulations from the state, since the Illinois Campground Licensing and Recreational Area Act doesn't apply to home rule communities. And I can take any questions then.
Nice job following up with all those questions, Director Hines. Well done.
Thank you.
Questions, Alderman Parker?
Yes, well, thank you for the report. You did answer one of my questions. We're talking about maybe 100 people or 100 campers. The other question is, if they violate the law, they do start criminal activity, will they be evicted?
Yeah, so it's my understanding that if they are violating the law, that they can be evicted, but I do think that there are some limitations to evictions right now, and that even applies to mobile home parks. I'm not an expert on that. I'll be upfront about that, but they do require a background check prior to anyone occupying the mobile home park, and so if the background check doesn't meet their standards, then they wouldn't be able to occupy it.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Oh, we don't need that.
Okay.
But thank you. And Madam Clerk, could you please note that at 6:17, Alderman Borneman joined the meeting.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Council?
Madam Mayor, Alderman McClanahan.
Yes, Alderman McClanahan.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to Director Hines for thoroughly following up on all those issues that were presented at the last meeting. Your memo and your presentation tonight were both comprehensive and responsive to those outstanding questions that were raised. I think the answers, taken under the totality of the circumstances, support going forward with this, and I believe it would be a benefit to the area overall. I would note, I had to be in court last week at Joe Davies, and they were right just east of Stockton on the pipeline, so you can see the work. It's coming. It's going to be long, and again, I think it'll be a benefit of the area to have this option here. So I do support it.
If there's no other discussion, Madam Clerk, could you please?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Brashaw.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Director Hines, for those answers. And just so you know, it isn't that I don't want these workers to come to Freeport. I'm more concerned about their safety and non-compliance of the mobile home park as far as not having their improvements done, the lighting, the sewer issues, the things that we were worried about. And also I was worried about the compliance of their current residents as far as whether or not they had been screened and or followed the crime-free housing addendum. Just so you know, we do need the business in Freeport. I would like to encourage the pipeline workers to come here. I was more concerned for their safety not their non-compliance. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk, if you please take the roll on the passage of Ordinance 2021-08.
Borneman.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much. Move on to item number 7, which is the adoption of Resolution 2021-05. Could you please read this?
Resolution acknowledging the expenditure of funds for the acquisition of real property known as HB Plastics in accordance with an intergovernmental agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Natural Resources regarding the Freeport Flood Hazard Mitigation Project.
Thank you. Director Hines.
Thank you. So we're requesting the approval of the purchase of the HB Plastics building property located in the floodway. The address is 110 North Wilbur. The council had approved an intergovernmental agreement with IDNR to acquire several county tax trustee properties and the HB Plastics building at 110 North Wilbur. It was sometime in 2019 that we actually approved that. And the last parcel to be acquired is HB Plastics right now. So the state approved the purchase price at $436,513. The appraised value is $435,000, and the closing costs are $1,513. This would be completely reimbursed to us. And to date, we are completely in line with our anticipated expenses. We actually are a little bit underneath that too. There were a few properties that were taken off the tax roll before we could, before we acquired them, and so we have a little bit of flexibility in that. And our estimated purchase price for the HB Plastics building was a little overestimated. So we do have a little bit of flexibility in the demolition cost for this. And we're estimating that to be around $170,000, including asbestos abatement, demolition activities, and oversight, and utilities disconnection. So in total, we can be reimbursed up to $764,570, and we don't foresee exceeding that amount based on the cost savings that we've made so far. The closing is scheduled for March 17th of 2021 at Security First Title Company. And the property will be deeded to IDNR first, and then after demolition is completed, then they will deed it to the city. So we'll put out a bid for demolition once IDNR gets the property and we go through the closing process. This grant program runs through June 31st of 2021, so it'll be fully completed before then, so we can get our reimbursement report and everything into them by then. We would recommend approval of this to move forward with the grant program.
Director Hines, did you say it's 100% reimbursed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Alderman Ross.
Yes, Director. After all the paperwork is done, when do they plan on doing the demolition, and how soon? I mean, did they give them a timetable from beginning to start that would be completed?
So yeah, we will put the bid out once we do the closing. We'll put the bid out, and that just you usually put that out for a few weeks, bring it to council for approval, and so we can. I was planning on setting a deadline for in May, so we can have time to get it regreened and get all the paperwork into IDNR in time.
Okay, so we need a motion to go ahead with this. Yes, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to go ahead with the demolition, purchase and demolition of the property.
It's a resolution.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Are there any other questions or concerns, council? We have a
Madam
motion.
Mayor, Alderman McClanathan.
Yes, Alderman McClanathan.
I just want to reiterate what you had mentioned and what the Director had mentioned, and I appreciate the efforts by all the entities that we're able to put this together and make it so that it's 100% covered with non-city funds here. To undertake projects of this magnitude requires a lot of legwork. So again, that's very good, efficient use of our resources, and I thank everyone for their efforts.
Thank you. We have a motion made by Alderman Ross, seconded by Alderman Brashaw for the adoption of Resolution 2021-05. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Borneman.
Aye.
McLanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 6-0.
Item number 8 is the adoption of Resolution 2021-06. Could you please read this for the record?
Resolution authorizing and approving City of Freeport agreement for matching funds for DCEO Opportunity Zone Grant for Chicago Avenue streetscaping.
Thank you. Manager Bucus.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city received notice of a state award for the Opportunity Zone Grant Program to help fund the Chicago Avenue Streetscape Project. This project's main goal is to safely facilitate pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicle-friendly traffic in the downtown area. Chicago Avenue has been designated as a place of designation as far as an entertainment district for the city as well. Our original idea and plan was to do this project in phases, but with the Opportunity Zone Grant, we're looking at trying to do this all in 1 year and save some money in the process. The award is for $1,980,000 plus and requires a match of $1,981,000 plus. The project funds will be used on various aspects of the streetscape project, including burying new wastewater and water infrastructure improvements, including water mains, manholes, valves, hydrants, and doing transportation infrastructure improvements as well as including sidewalks, curb, pavement, and installation of new trees, removal of the old coal vaults, and relocating utility poles and putting electrical wires on the ground as well. The projects anticipate to start in May of 2022. Currently, city staff's working with the Greater Freeport Partnership and Firm Graham on a communications plan to meet with the downtown businesses and building owners. We anticipate getting that started in April of 2021 in conjunction with their downtown business meeting. And staff's recommendation is that Council approve the Opportunity Zone Grant Agreement in order for us to start on this project and complete the Chicago Avenue Streetscape project.
Madam Mayor.
Alderman Brashaw.
Thank you. Manager Buckus, I was looking over some of the paperwork that was sent to us. I guess you call it the budget template.
Correct.
In that, I see there's a budget summary, State of Illinois funds, and then, not sure if I'm seeing this right. One looks like what the state would pay, and the other looks like a non-State of Illinois funds page. Would that be the funds that that we would come up with, the City of Freeport?
That is correct.
So if I might continue, Mayor, is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So Manager Buckus, I see that on item number 8, which is construction, we have $1,733,000 and then a rough amount, excuse me, and then plumbing would be $49,000. Where do we have it in our budget that we have this for the construction? I'm sorry, I don't remember those details.
Sure. We have $1 million out of our road improvement fund. Originally, we had Senator Stewart appropriate $1 million in the state budget for us for this project, and we found out not that long ago that the state will now allow us to use it as a match after all. So we're switching that program, the money that Senator Stewart was able to obtain for us, and we're going to apply it towards the Empire Street resurfacing project that we're doing this summer. And the money that was going to be used on Empire, we're going to use our local money there, $1 million towards the Chicago Streetscape project. The rest of the funds will be coming out of the water and sewer budgets.
Madam Mayor?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So Manager Buckus, I'm to understand that the Stewart money is going to one project and then that other earmarked money is coming back to do the Chicago project. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you for explaining.
Madam Mayor, Alderman McLanathan.
Yes, Alderman McLanathan.
Thank you. Manager Buckus, well, what's the approximate age of the water and sewer infrastructure on that stretch that we're going to be replacing?
The water line dates back to 1882, and what we're anticipating when we start uncovering whether it's going to be a wood water main or not. We're taking bets on that right now. And the sewer line is just as old.
A follow-up, Madam Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I see that you're anticipating working with the downtown business and building owners in that area starting, well, next month, it looks like. Talk to me a little bit about that process. Is there going to be some give and take there in regards to those owners being able to say, hey, here's what I've got on my property, here's what it looks like, here's what we have in regards to vaults, things of that nature? Is it going to be pretty much like a collaborative process so that they can give some feedback throughout it, or what does this look like?
We're basically finishing up the plans for the most part, but we do want their input because we are looking at having some bump outs for pedestrian traffic. We're taking parking off I believe it's the east side of the street, and we're putting in a bike lane to facilitate travel through the downtown to the Jane Addams Trail. We're talking about having trees. Not everybody wants a tree in front of their building, and not that we're looking at putting one in front of everybody's building, but we need cooperation in those respects too. We're looking at widening the sidewalks. We did have one property owner tell us that they don't want us to fill in the vault because he uses it to get bigger items into his building. So, we will accommodate people as much as we can, and we do want their input before we do the final plans and go out for bids. And that's another reason why we're kind of pushing this project back just a little bit. So we have almost a year to get public input.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Alderman Ross?
Yes, Director Bugus. Where are they going to start at, and where are they going to end at?
We're starting at Jackson Street and going to Douglas, and basically from Douglas to Linden, I believe. All we're going to do is paint a bike lane in. So, but major of the work is going to be from Douglas to Jackson.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Alderman Busker?
Yes. With using funds from water and sewer for a project of this magnitude, where does that put us on schedule for the other water and sewer improvements around the city?
They all been budgeted in, and that's why we have the capital improvement fees on our utility bills. And that's one reason why we've been able to get some and secure some interest-free loans from the EPA, and the loans that we are taking out to do some of our major work is at 1.01%. So the funds are coming in, and it's just a matter of prioritizing how we do the work.
So we're still on schedule with everything else?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of underground work this year and next year.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Alderman McClathan.
Alderman McClathan?
Thank you. I note, and again, I appreciate the administration's use of the funds in regards to this. If you take this in conjunction with the last resolution that we passed, it looks like we're getting a little over $5 million worth of work, including significant work on what are some of our oldest pipes in the city. So that $5 million of work, and it looks like it's going to have just a little bit under $2 million from city funds, so over 60% of it through other sources. So I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-06.
Second.
Is there any other discussion, Council? Seeing none, we have a motion made by Alderman McClathan, seconded by Alderman Busker for the adoption of Resolution 2021-06. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Borneman?
Aye.
McClanathan?
Aye.
Ross?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Busker?
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item number 9. Madam Clerk, would you please read the motion for bid approval?
Motion to approve bid and notice of intent to award. The bid opening was held February 18th, 2021 for construction of well house for well number 11.
Thank you. Director Boyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The city has an immediate need to develop new water supply and treatment for our water system. The water treatment plant's over 130 years old, and I think we all understand some of the issues regarding that. The low bidder came in from Winter Construction. It was in the amount of $10,929,834. It was also below the engineer's estimate. For the next two lower bids were within 2% of the low bid, indicating the bids were all very consistent and accurate. This is a good bid, especially when you consider the volatility of the materials market right now. The project is in the capital improvement fund plan, and we will be funding it with the IEPA revolving loan, L175642. The term of the loan is 20 years at 1.01 interest rate. Funding to repay the loan have already been established through the city's capital improvement fund. Staff requests approval of the notice of intent to award the contract to Winter Construction, Inc., pending final review and approval by the EPA and formal issuance of an EPA loan. Strategic plan is responsive and efficient government, prioritizes maintaining critical infrastructure that supports the community's life and health while protecting the environment. Approval of this project is consistent with Freeport's strategic vision and maintains the mechanisms which do that, exactly that. Do you have any questions?
Madam Mayor.
Alderman Brashaw.
Thank you. Director Boyer, I want to thank you for your work on this. It sounds like it's really good terms with the 1.01% interest. I did want to ask a silly question, though. Is any of this part of a forgivable loan program?
This is not part of the forgivable loan. Most of the forgivable stuff has to do with lead service line replacement and water main replacements.
Thank you. Notwithstanding any other discussion from other council members, I don't mean to discourage them, but I would like to make that motion to move this forward, for approval to the contract to Winter Construction as you recommend.
I'd second that.
Any other discussion, council? We have a motion on the floor made by Alderman Brashaw, seconded by Alderman McClanathan for the approval of the bid. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Borneman.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Madam Clerk, could you please read for the record the next motion for acceptance?
Motion to accept quote for self-contained breathing apparatus bottles.
Thank you. Chief Liggett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Bring before the council this evening two quotes. The Fire Administration submitted as part of our 2021 fire improvement budget to purchase 30 self-contained breathing apparatus bottles. The reason for this purchase is to provide us with redundant air supply for extended firefighting incident. We need to have the additional bottles to meet the use, staging, and filling cycle. This will give us one bottle in use on the back of a firefighter, one staged for when we rotate firefighters out, and one being filled stationed in our compressor. During an extended incident, a firefighter can go through 4 to 5 air bottles. This requires 2 complete trips back to the station to fill bottles. This will give us additional capacity to continue to operate in the immediately dangerous to life and health environment. The fire department uses Mine Safety Appliance as our brand for self-contained breathing apparatus. There are 2 vendors in our region that are authorized to sell these bottles. One is Air One Equipment developed in Illinois, and the other is Sandry Fire Supply of DeWitt, Iowa. We received a quote from each of these. There were $60 difference in the quotes between the 2 vendors. Sandry Fire Supply quoted us $23,160. Air One Equipment quoted us $23,100. They're very close. Air One currently provides all of our annual preventative maintenance, and they were the lower quote. This meets with our strategic initiatives to have a safe community and efficient government. And we have $30,000 budgeted for this project in the Fire Improvement Fund. So this is well within those budgetary requirements. I would request that the City Council approve or accept the quotes and authorize the purchase.
Madam Mayor,
Alderman Busker.
motion to approve the purchase.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman Parker for the approval of the bid to be accepted. Is there any other discussion, council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Borneman,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
and Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to reports from department heads. Finance. Thank you. Community development.
Thank you. I just have a few updates. We received a notice from FEMA today about the pre-disaster mitigation grant, and it was essentially just to summarize, they approved our environmental justice review, and that means that we can now move forward, finalize our review with FEMA's hazard mitigation department. So this environmental justice review, it's part of the National Environmental Policy Act, and it certifies that we would not have a disproportionately high and adverse impact on minority and low-income populations and would not significantly adversely affect the quality of the natural and human environment. And if you don't meet this criteria, then you can't move forward with the project at all, and so they approved us for this. And then in addition to that, just this morning, we finished submitting our hazard mitigation grant program application. This is basically the same as the pre-disaster mitigation grant and the Building Resilient Infrastructures and Communities grant that was submitted last month. But this one, we had every property that was eligible to sign up, which was any property that wasn't signed up for pre-disaster mitigation. We didn't get as many notice of voluntary interest forms in this year, but that was largely due to the inability to have public interaction like we did for the previous grant application. But our goal is that we can keep doing outreach with the community and with the residents in the floodway and invite them to submit a notice of voluntary interest form while we're going through the review process, and then we'll have that on hand when we do go through the review with FEMA. And then the benefit to this environmental justice review from for the PDM grant, other than that we were approved for it, is that this means that we don't have to go through this long of a process for other FEMA grants moving forward, because these projects are essentially the same, just different people involved. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Public Works.
Just two things tonight.
You can stay right there.
I just wanted to let everyone know that Douglas is going to be closed tomorrow from Van Buren to Chicago. There's going to be a crane in operation upgrading some of the cell phone equipment up on top of the Stewart Center. Also, just to give everyone a quick update on what's going on with the Rock River Watershed Group. I attended a special meeting Wednesday to determine which firm was going to perform the nutrient assessment reduction plan for the group. Baxter, Woodman, Olson Engineering, and Deutschler all submitted qualifying RFQs, and they were Deutschler was the one that was selected. My guess is they're going to be looking for approximately $4 per service hookup to complete the program. So that's something that will be coming up in future meetings. So that's all I've got for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Fire Department.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to wanted to update you that I'm going to have that information that the council requested next week during my presentation on the smoke detector ordinance. So we'll have some takeaways for you. We're reestablishing our relationship with the American Red Cross. They've kind of slowed things down on their smoke detector program as a result of the COVID crisis. So We're picking up some more smoke detectors tomorrow to make sure that our stock is full when we roll this thing out next week. So I wanted to just update everyone to make sure that you knew that the information that you requested is on the way. Also, last Friday we had a fire on Park Boulevard, excuse me. It was a basement fire. It started in on top of a stove in the basement there. There was one person injured, transported to Freeport Hospital, and one pet perished in the fire. There were no operating smoke detectors in the home. So this is going to be a big deal for us this spring. We're going to really get out there and hammer it, and I appreciate the City Council's help on this. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And Police Department.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to update everyone on the Shot Spotter program. They were in town and met with the police department 2 weeks ago. I've seen a map of where all the sensors are going to be, and their estimated timeline at the latest is mid-April to have this program up and running.
Good to hear. Thanks, Chief. IT? Thank you. Library?
Thank you, Mayor Miller. Today's the first day of March, so our programming for our One Book, One Freeport starts next week. Our first program that we're going to be doing is fully virtual via Zoom, and it's Jim Winker is going to present on the era of good feelings. And then another program to be aware of is we are paying to have, with grant funding, Eric Robinson come in and present on just the Underground Railroad in the state of Illinois. He is a well-known scholar and expert in the field. We are going to be doing a hybrid event, so you can go to Masonic Event Center because they have such a large space for us to be able to do it in person and still be able to do spacing apart. And that's on March 17th at 6:30 p.m., but we'll also be airing it via Zoom. So if you aren't comfortable meeting in person, you can view it at home. So, and if you have, there's a lot more events, so you can look at those. I don't think we need to discuss all of them right now. But yes, if you have any questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. We received our final quotes for our health insurance for this coming year, July 1st, with the Intergovernmental Personnel Benefits Cooperative, also known as IPBC. The city's rate for health insurance is going to actually increase by 0.02%, so it's going to be an additional $6,000 over last year. And our dental insurance is going to go down by 3.9%, or roughly $6,000 from the previous year. Life insurance that we purchased through them will go up slightly. It's going to go from 9.2 cents per thousand to 10 cents per thousand. Also, with regards to the IPBC, they've kind of changed their format on how they're going to start rating groups. Right now, we're in what we call a Q-chip subpool. It's made up of 9 different communities, Freeport and East Moline being the largest as far as employees go with insured lives. And we have an opportunity through this new rating system to become an individual member rather than part of the subpool. This new rating scenario, they're basically taking the governance and rating process out of the subpool, so that subpools will no longer be rated together, but that they're going to be based on the actual membership size. So there's really no benefit for us to remain in the subpool, and so I will be recommending at the next city council meeting that we do pull our membership out of the subpool, but we stay as a full-fledged member as part of that program. And I believe that's all I have for tonight, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And as everyone can see, our weather is changing, so spring is on its way, and so are the event permits that have been coming in for lots of activities that will be happening throughout Freeport. the city will begin to approve them contingent upon the COVID guidelines. In this morning's meetings, the state's positivity rate continues to go down and is at 2.5%, as well as our region is steadily declining as well with 2.1%. So with that, we are hopeful that we can see events take place this year. And Alderman Bordeman.
Nothing for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Alderman McClanathan?
Thank you. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, just looking back at this agenda tonight, pretty much every item had something of significance. You know, we got the SCBA bottles. You've got our over 1800s water plant getting replaced and it being awarded to a local bidder at a very competitive rate and a 1.01 interest loan. You had $4 million worth of work on some of, including some of our oldest water and sewer lines, and about half of that being used or funded by non-city funds. You know, acquisition of one of the largest properties in the floodway and having that being 100% non-city funds on that. You know, that kind of work doesn't happen by accident, but rather it's through planning. Many of you guys who were there and presenting it tonight around the table have been instrumental in getting that planned. And I appreciate that, and all those other steps that you're taking to keep it on track, as Alderman Busker referenced in regards to all the other work that's upcoming, and we've got and Adams coming down the road. So again, I know it's a little redundant, but just seeing some of these projects come online after a period of time and knowing all the work that everybody has been putting together into it, it's just satisfying to see. I thank you for your efforts, and I look forward to seeing the next phases of these plans moving forward.
Thank you, Alderman McClanathan. Alderman Ross?
Yes, I just have one thing. As you stated earlier, Mayor Miller, thank God for the warmer weather, but also we've got to be leery of the thaw that's going on. Now, the good thing about it is, yes, it may be 40 in the days, but it's dropping down to the teens at night. So that's going to help the thaw as for the water in the floodway area being east side of Freeport. So what I can say is everything is starting to look good. Was gradually taking it, and then we can move on from there. And that's about it, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Parker?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Alderman Busker?
Nothing for me tonight.
Thank you. And Alderman Brashoff?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank whoever provided the Underground Railroad books. I believe it's One Book, One Freeport. Was that from the library?
Yes.
Thank you. It was a very interesting read, and I learned a lot, and it was not only entertaining, but it does open people's eyes up to differences, disparity, and a lot of people should read that book. It's just a really great book. I did want to say thank you to the street works. I did notice the street crews were out patching potholes, and boy, do we need them all over Freeport. So thank you for patching the potholes up and down Greenfield, because it made my ride home a lot smoother today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Brashaw. And that will conclude the council minutes. And so we'll move on to item number 15, which is public comments. And we have one on non-agenda items. Mr. Carroll, you have 3 minutes.
I'm obviously Steve Carroll. So last year, there were 2 hirings from 2 different local governmental bodies that I found, to say the least, disturbing. Highland Community College's hiring of athletic director Pete Norman's son, Luke, for the men's head basketball coaching position is somewhat troubling. And through FOIA, I found out that there were 19 other applicants for that coaching position. So, what were the other 19 applicants lacking in their resumes? Perhaps a family connection? I don't know. In fact, shortly after I submitted my FOIA request, I had a brief phone conversation with Highland President Chris Kaburski. I asked her if athletic director Norman had any role in the hiring of his son, Luke. She said she didn't know. So, if she doesn't know out there, who does? So, the fact that this type of quasi-nepotism is rampant throughout college athletics is no excuse and does not speak highly of Highland's hiring practices or its leadership. Now, the hiring of city manager Randy Bucas by the city of Freeport is just as troubling. Once again, through FOIA and in reading council and committee minutes, I found out some things. There was a search committee that was established. However, a search firm was never hired as had been done in the past. As it turned out, they already had an internal candidate in mind, and that was, of course, Mr. Bucas. There were no other applicants, so the hard-working search committee, with a wink and a nod, gifted the job to Mr. Bucas, apparently and obviously without searching for any other applicants. So much for the city being an equal opportunity employer. Last year, the concept of social justice became quite relevant in this area. However, what I've just spoken about is not social justice, nor is it equal opportunity. It is, in fact, social hypocrisy and opportunity for a very select elite few. The Freeport area continues to be an isolated postage stamp of dysfunction.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, we will move on to item number 16, which is the executive session. Madam Clerk, could you please read this?
Which one's Manager Bucas?
C and D.
C.
Executive session will be held pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C6, the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body, and D, pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
Thank you. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Ross. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Bordeman.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening.